expected you are by the Monday.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And we're live.
Hey, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, it's Dale Hart Jr. and we're live here on Dirty Mo Media's YouTube page. We're gonna do some Ask Junior. We've had a great conversation so far, talking dirty air with Mike Davis here about Austin Dillon, his helmet throw, Denny Hamlin, and his last lap maneuvers, or his maneuvers to try to win the race. I can't remember. Was it the last lap? No,
it was on the restart with like
yeah.
8
the
or
one
7
thing
to go.
we didn't talk about, maybe we could talk about it during Ask Junior, is the caution, the
Right.
choice to throw the yellow, which I got some points about that I think are important. But anyhow, you sent all your questions in to Xfinity Racing, and they've been great all year. Andrew's not here today. It's Monday. All of this is going to come out today, just so everybody knows. This episode of Dale Jr. Download is coming out today, not tomorrow. It'll be out today. Actions Detrimental will also be out today. If you want to listen to Denny Hamlin's comments one day later, has he changed his mind or not about what happened in Pocono? And nothing happens Tuesday. We will not have a show.
But Wednesday,
Becoming Earnhardt, episode 3. Please listen to that. We worked too damn hard on it for you not to take it in. And we know you'll love it. Trust me, you'll really like it. Awesome. So anyways, the questions.
Awesome. Well, our first question is about that last caution. Ethan wants to know, do you think NASCAR made the right call delaying it as long as they did instead of throwing it before they took the white flag?
Yeah. So we have a competition meeting with NASCAR every race. And so Sunday morning, one of the questions we asked was, in the Xfinity race, the 7 car, Justin Allgaier, lost his tailpiece coming off of turn 3. And the tailpiece is laying on the racetrack right before the flag stand, and there's cars running around the racetrack on the last lap. And usually the yellow flag would come out, right? You're like, hey, what are they doing? The yellow flag's not coming out. There's a piece. They're not. Surely they're not racing back to the checkered with this piece laying here. So we asked NASCAR, and they said, at a big racetrack like that, we can wait and allow the racing to continue and give the fans as much as we possibly can. And we anticipated throwing the yellow as the cars got into turn 3 so that they would be able to avoid, any kind of issue with this tailpiece laying on the track. And they did not get that opportunity because they had another crash happen off of turn, or the 8 car hitting the wall in the tunnel turn, other things happening on the racetrack. But anyways, their idea was, all right, it's the tailpiece. We see it. They told the teams, we see the tailpiece on the racetrack. And they were going to let the race continue as far as they could to allow whatever racing to play out that could possibly play out. So I thought that was a great decision. And they said, a track of this size gives us that opportunity. If it's at Bristol, we're throwing the yellow as soon as the tailpiece pops off. But at a bigger track like that, they use a different approach. And, hey, I like it, giving me more racing, right? Giving me everything I can get up to a point. And that was the same mentality that they had on Sunday. And they were going to try to allow that racing. Hopefully this 41 car can get going. Priest was, we saw the exhaust. They were seeing the same thing we are. He's trying to fire the car. It looked like he got it fired. Then it stalled again. We saw earlier in the race it was difficult for Austin Dillon to get his car refired and going again after a spin and contact. And so NASCAR's like, come on, get it going. Want to let this keep going. Want to let this race keep going. And so, I like that. I think at a track that size where you can, you're still, everything safety-wise, everything's still in the box that we want to be in. And so let it keep going. Let the green flag keep going. I don't have a problem with it. I don't think, I'm not of the mind, hey man, why didn't the yellow come out before the white? Let's re-rack and go again. The job is to try to get to the checkered, right? And they were trying their best to try to get there, and hopefully that 41 gets moving, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah. Our next question is from Cody. Can you remember the worst apology you've ever received or given a driver after something that's happened on track between you two?
I wonder how you define worst apology.
Yeah.
Like,
I will
completely
say
insincere?
the one, I think I don't know that I ever apologized for something and didn't really like. I don't know that I was just like flip it and not like whatever, man. Sorry, who cares about you? I will say like the one. This is often cited as probably the one moment in my racing career where fans of our car were most disappointed in me or most embarrassed by me. And this is the wreck on the back straightaway at Daytona. I think it was 2008 or 2010. We got a really fast car. Rain's coming. We lost a lap because of a battery issue or something. And I'm racing Brian Vickers for the Lucky Dog. And I know I got to get in front of him. We could have a wreck any minute. Everybody's racing toward this rain, so intensity is high. And this was also during a moment or during a time frame where there was really no defined understanding of when you might get black flagged for going below the line. It was almost like, hey, man, if NASCAR looked and you were below the line, you got a black flag. They didn't care how you got there. They just saw you down there. And they were like, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And so I got to run off the corner on Brian, and I've talked about this before, so sorry I have to do this, but he comes down the racetrack, and I'm like, I'm not going below the line, buddy. And he forces me below the line. I'm like, you took my spot. You pushed me away. You pushed me down the track. I'm coming back up. If you don't move, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I drive back up the racetrack, turned him. He overcorrected back into the field. Big crash. And honestly, man, I felt hardly little or no remorse for that ever since.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, and I told him on the phone. We get on the phone, and he's like, what the hell? And I'm like, you ran me below the line. I'm coming back up to the racetrack to get back in line or get back on the track. I'm under you. You forced me down. Move up. You what do you want me to get? You want me to lift and get behind you? This is not how racing works. And in that moment, man, I was like, I no longer care what happens to you. You put yourself in this situation, and you're gonna, and whatever consequences come are because of what you did. And that was, kind of the conversation we had, at least the way I remember it. And I remember standing at my doorway in my house talking to him on the phone and saying, like, man, I hate the crash and taking everybody out, but I really don't have a problem with what I did and what I chose to do in that moment.
Yeah.
And I know even today, my fans of my career, that was a point where they didn't really understand why I was acting that way or why I did that, and that was something they didn't approve of or were embarrassed by. But I still have no problem with it. Yeah. And so, sometimes you just there's times when I know the repercussions, like 15 cars crashing, is not good. I don't love that. But the moment between me and Brian, I handled it the way I wanted to handle it. And so there's times when there's just times when you can't, there's times when you're going to have a conversation with a driver and he wants an apology and you just can't bring yourself to do it. You're just like, I really don't feel like I did nothing wrong there.
Do what you had to do.
Yeah.
That was the 2009 Daytona 500. I'm looking at it on YouTube right now. What a massive wreck that was.
Yeah. I mean, if he spins down across the grass, I'm like, hey, all right, shipped your ass and you deserved it. But he wrecks, he corrects in front of the field, and now, yes, I feel like a real asshole. Yeah. But
he absolutely put you in a compromising situation below that yellow line, and you absolutely come back up on him. It actually reminds me, we talk about this in today's podcast about if you put your shoe on the other foot, you can understand each person's vantage point and perspective and why they might be angry. Same thing in this one. Like if you're Brian Vickers, you did come up on him. But if you're he came down on you and pushed you down below the yellow line. I mean, like, both of them.
When he drove me down, he's like, God, what choice does he have now? I'm here. I'm against the line. Yep. He's got to get behind me.
Right, which is what Denny's like. Kyle could have just let off the gas. He had a decision. He could throw it all. Right, but that's not what you were going to do, and that's not what Kyle Larson was going to do. So these guys know what you're doing when you put somebody below the line.
It's taking advantage of the situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember DW's call from that was just saying, I don't care who you are. That's just
I
wrong.
know he was mad.
That's low down dirty. Yeah, he said something like that,
Yeah,
right?
all he
I'm
could
sorry.
say.
Hey, I feel like I feel like I did what I needed to do in that moment.
Yeah.
If I lifted in that moment, then Vickers gets away with doing that, and everybody's going to race me that way from that moment on.
Yeah.
So the point is, he's still not sorry. Still not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Switching gears a little bit. This one's a little bit of an off-the-wall question. Corey wants to know, if you didn't have to sleep, what would you do with all the extra time?
Hell yeah. Oh,
Free 8 hours right there.
that's such a great question.
Yeah.
I would probably whatever I tell you, I'd change my mind in 5 minutes. That's I'd play more iRacing. I'd play more video games in general. I'd work on my 1979 podcast, and maybe already be working on the 1980 podcast for Becoming Earnhardt. I would. I don't know, man. I mean,
8 hours is a lot.
it is.
I'd still want everybody else to be asleep.
Yeah? You think
Sorry.
so?
Yeah, because that's a key to
I mean,
development there.
selfishly, I might, take one of those days and have get a good beer buzz and then sober right back up before everybody got going. I mean, you'd be tempted to if is everybody awake?
That's right.
Is
That's a
it
good
like
question.
See, that changes everything.
yeah.
If everybody
Yeah.
is awake, then I don't know.
Yeah, if everybody's awake, then I may be doing something with my family, traveling more. I don't know. Jeez.
I think they're awake if you want them awake. So
Yeah.
it's up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would think.
Yeah, if it's just me, if I'm the only one awake, yeah, I'm probably going downstairs, turn on some YouTube videos, I like to watch music videos.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've changed the way you take music in, right?
Yeah.
Used to listen to your iPod, and now it's like, you got, your Apple TV or whatever, your Roku. But I'll get on YouTube videos and listen to music. Watch old, like yacht rock music videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd probably sit there and do that for several hours
That's
and
not bad.
drink some beer.
Waste some time doing that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. Go sit on the beach. I don't know. Shit, dude, you can do anything you wanted.
It's a lot. It's a long time.
Yeah.
The next one has to do with Becoming Earnhardt. Tim wants to know, they've been incredible. He loves them. But what has been your biggest challenge, and what's been the best part of making them?
The biggest challenge is trying to keep all of the stuff in there. So Mike laughs. So it's a tough challenge. So the scrapbooks that I had that started this whole thing, they have a bunch of information in them. But we've been digging in like a dozen other publications, right, to try to find little stories, right, little fun stories. Something happened to somebody driving to the track. Something happened to somebody driving home. Something, whatever. And the shows, Mike and 30 Mo Media and the team, they want the shows to be roughly 35 to 45 minutes and easy to listen to, and it's hard to pack all that stuff in there and hard to keep all those little stories. And so me and Mike are really kind of going back and forth with every episode going, all right, man, I'll let you take this out. Okay, well, we'll move this to this episode, and we can shorten this up. I'll reread this, and it doesn't have to be so long to be able to find time. Like episode 3, unedited, is an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
You told me? And we need to cut 45 minutes out of this thing, right? And there is the way I wrote it in the script of it is very wordy. Right, and I'm certainly not the most talented at that. So there's ways to say the same thing in a very brief, few sentences. So going back and re-recording stuff, that part is really the toughest part. Mike tells me over and over, we did this all backwards. I came to them with the idea and really the whole script, and said, "This is the show," and now they got to come in behind and put in all the sound elements and read the script and go, well, we need a sound element for that. Now we have to go find it. Luckily, we've been given the entire archive of MRN. They've been so great to us to allow us to have that really makes the shows come to life. That's probably the best part about it, is being able to couple the narration with the actual audio of the race. And so we're finding some really cool gems of races that I didn't even know existed. And yeah, so I hope people listen to it. That's all I care about. It's just, I think if you hear it and you get into episode 2, 3, you'll realize this is something special and unique. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think a lot of people, some comments I see is people go, well, I've heard this. You know, I know what happened at Daytona in 1979. What could you possibly tell me that I don't already know? And so I think you'll really be surprised if you dive into the show. How we deliver it is really entertaining, and there are some new revelations in there.
Yeah.
And so, especially beyond that race, right? What does everybody know about the rest of the season? I surely don't know much about it, not detail. And so it's kind of cool to relive it. I think, man, I wish there was something like this out there for every year in NASCAR. Would you not want to sit down and just like have a badass refresher course on 1992, 1989? Like, what was that year like? What happened? What was the process of it?
Pre-social media too, all these little stories that you you'll never hear about unless they're passed down through people.
Yeah. And those, again, that goes back to like trying to keep those little pieces in there. That's part of the personality of the show, is that it's not just what Dad did in 1979. It's all these little quirky things that were going on in the garage that really help you understand what the culture might have been like, right? Like, I want so badly to go back in time and walk through the garage at Charlotte on a Saturday before the World 600. Look at the cars, watch the people, see the mannerisms. And this is what I think the show can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to just put all the stories, like 5 or 6 in there. Mike can't take them all out.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
you pick 1 or 2.
I end up keeping them all. We work hard at.
Yeah, it's not that I'm trying to take them all out. It's a sequential thing. It's a sequence. Let me give you an example. And I say this is an endearing quality of Dale, right? And this is what we want. Let's say he's given a rundown finishing order of Rockingham. It'd be something like this: Bobby Allison won the race. Kel Yarborough finished second. Darrell Waltrip earlier in the week had a hemorrhoid. I'm sure that was probably bothered him. Anyway, so you had Harry Gant finishing third, and then you had Dad finishing fourth, and then, oh, by the way, you know, and so it's like, wait, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, we were trying to give the top 5 finishing order, and then there's a story, this diversion that goes, wow, way over here. That's where I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. So we end up just going, let's just leave it.
You know what Dale Waltrip was doing there. That's it, though.
Well, yeah. All right.
Well, that's all we got for today.
Hey, man, awesome questions. Appreciate everybody tuning in, supporting everything we're doing here at Dirty Mo Media. We're working so hard to bring a bunch of great content to everybody, and hope you're taking it in and enjoying it. And, again, thanks for supporting us. Thanks to Xfinity for everything they do for us and our all the things we do here at Dirty Mo Media. Just let us know, man, what we're missing, what you'd like to see from us, what you do enjoy, what we can keep doing for you. We love that feedback. We want to be making the content that you want. So help us do that. So don't forget, today, as we get toward the end of the day, this episode of the Dale Jr. Download comes out on Monday. It's the only week we're doing this. Nothing tomorrow. Becoming Earnhardt comes out on Wednesday, episode 3. And I'm loving all the feedback that I'm seeing in my timeline on Twitter. I check it. I look at it and read everything you say about Becoming Earnhardt or anything else we do. Everything comes across my timeline. I'm checking it out. So I appreciate all the great feedback I'm getting on that. Have a great week, and we'll see you in Richmond. Yeah.